Hey there, welcome to Hiker Homily number 53. We're kind of moving along in our new year for 2019, and I wanted to first of all and foremost say welcome. There's a lot of new subscribers on my channel that have been trickling through, and I know there's a couple of reasons for that. I know I kind of started tagging some of my Instagram pictures and a few other things with the PCT 2019 tag to it, and I was one of those folks. The last couple of years, I want to follow the current group of PCT hikers, you know, for the year. I'd start looking up those tags. Like last year, I searched for PCT 2018. I did it in 2017 and 2016, and then I'd find a group of hikers that I just wanted to watch their videos when they were on the trail. So I know that since I tagged, you know, some of my pictures on Instagram and here on YouTube and things like that, with that, some of you may be here to eventually watch me get out there on the trail and see what I'm going to do. So welcome, and I appreciate it. And quite a few of you have been nice enough to leave encouraging comments and things like that. I totally appreciate that. That's really something. Makes me feel good. I still consider my channel tiny compared to some of the YouTubers I watch who have thousands and thousands of subscribers. Some of the gamer YouTubers I watch have millions of subscribers. I'm still under 100, but it's cool. It's fun. A little bit more people on there. It's kind of neat, so I appreciate that. Welcome, everybody. And with that, I have some actual comments on some videos, even a couple of questions and things. So that's kind of what I wanted to go over is I try to do my best to actually answer the questions, and I have so far in the comment section directly to the people who ask the questions. But, you know, for some of you who don't read the comment section or aren't watching this, you know, specifically on YouTube, maybe you're watching it through a different, you know, hookup through, you know, Facebook or something else, but just see the video and not the comments and things. I like to try to answer them for, you know, a broader audience or whatever. So I wanted to do that. So we're going to look for one of the first ones from my 10 essentials for day hiking video. I mentioned several of the things that I usually carry, including a compass, map, locator beacon, and Adventure Quest commented, great vid, my 10 are the same. My phone covers multiple of them, compass, map, locator beacon. And you know what, Adventure Quest? Oh, by the way, let me stop for a second. Adventure Quest, for those of you who don't know, that's the name of his channel. He is going to be a Appalachian Trail hiker in 2019. This year, he's going to be heading out there pretty soon to the Appalachian Trail. So if you are interested in more than just the PCT, we have an AT hiker from 2019. He's a great guy. I totally recommend. He's down-to-earth fella, and totally recommend his videos, and check out his hike and see if you can follow him. Unfortunately, because I'm going to be on the PCT, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to follow him, but I'm going to try because I'm rooting for him. It's really awesome. So anyway, he mentions that, you know, some of his things, you know, his phone covers a lot of those things. And I got to tell you, Adventure Quest, you are not alone. I think the vast majority of hikers now use their phone for lots of stuff because our phones nowadays are amazing. I do most of my channel now with my phone. I used to have help with my GoPro and stuff, but my GoPro is old, my phone is newer. The camera, the sound system, much better than even the GoPro I had and things like that. So our phones are amazing. They can do some incredible things. And you're not alone. Even some of the bigger name thru hikers admit that most of what they do on the trail, they do with their phones. And I know a lot of what I'm going to do probably be with my phone. I'm going to have it hooked up to my emergency locator beacon, which is also a GPS map device. And so I can follow that. I'm going to be using gut hooks most of the time with my maps, stuff like that. Myself, however, being old school, and I don't want to say paranoid, but I just always feel more comfortable with that backup. Although I will be relying on my phone a lot for lots of different things, including most of the time my map and stuff like that, I will have actual backups in case something happens to the phone. Because again, I think I touched on it in the video. That's great that the phone can do all those things, but what happens if something happens to the phone? What if the phone gets damaged, gets water on it and shorts out? What if you lose it? What if, you know, however unlikely it is, what if something with the phone itself just glitches? All of a sudden the battery decides it doesn't work, or you have some kind of an issue with this or that. It just stops working. And if you are relying on it as your compass, your map, and any of that kind of thing, you now don't have any of those things if you don't have a backup. So as far as compass, even if I never get it out ever, I am going to have, because it doesn't weigh hardly anything, I am going to have my compass with me in my backpack. As far as map goes, I am going to have paper copies of the section that I am hiking at the time. And I'll have more sent to me, and I'll be getting, you know, when I'm done hiking a section, I just throw those paper copies in a recycle bin somewhere. And, you know, that takes care of that. I don't need them anymore. But I will have them there, and if I never touch them, that's fine. If I can do everything with my phone, because my phone never has a problem, awesome. But they're there as a backup just in case I need them. And so that's just one of the ways I kind of take care of that. I really want to be able to have that backup. It just makes me feel comfortable. It really does. Next comment I'm trying to get to. I tried to have these queued up ahead of time. All right, Michael Salmon, he commented on, I think it was the mental challenges, mental aspect of the trail that you have to deal with. And first of all, he says, really appreciate your honest and down-to-earth approach to hiking. Thank you very much, Michael. I do appreciate that, and I try to be. I can't be anything but me, and I try to be fairly down-to-earth. It just makes life better for myself and everyone around me, I think, if I can be that way. But he asked, what about bad weather? That can be a huge mental challenge. Yes, it can. Any suggestions for dealing with hot, cold, or wet? And for me, it's kind of a twofold thing. One of the reasons I got into backpacking, and I talked about this in a couple of my videos, was as a young kid getting into fantasy literature, things like Lord of the Rings and other books similar to that. That whole concept of just getting out there and taking a journey in the wilderness fascinated me. That was just an adventure and things like that. And so when you deal with that, with bad weather and things like that, I try to, from a mental aspect, I mean, there are physical things you can do. You use your rain gear. In the sun, you try to either hike in the parts of the days that aren't as hot, or, you know, I know we play a mental game a lot of the times. If we're on a Boy Scout hike and the boys are starting to get, you know, tired of having to hike in the heat, if we have a hot day or something like that, we do the island hopping thing, where it's like we're on this island of shade under this tray. Okay, you see it way up there the trail, you see that next spot of shade? We're going for that, you guys. So we give them these goals to get to, and then they can take a quick break under that shade, and then we go from shade to shade, and things like that. So, you know, that's the kind of thing you can do, but I believe it's Darwin on the Trail, and there's a few other of the bigger name through hikers that sometimes you just have to embrace the suck. That's what they say, and I agree. It just, there's sometimes there's going to be out there, and yeah, it's part of the adventure. It sucks. It's raining on me, or it's cold, so I will do what I can do physically, put my coats on, my layers, rain gear, things like that. Try to keep from getting too wet. But mentally, you just have to just understand that, hey, there's nothing you can do. This is the way it is. Just embrace that fact, and you're here to hike, so hike. And so mentally, that's all you can kind of do is what they say is embrace the suck. But that's about it. But thank you very much for the comments and for the questions. I appreciate that. So Vanessa Dodd is the next one. I'm sorry. And by the way, we'll stop right there. Vanessa Dodd has a YouTube channel called Vanessa Dodd Out and About with Ness. And she is also going to be a fellow 2019 PCT hiker. So if you're looking for someone else to follow on the trail, Vanessa Dodd, look her up on PCT. I believe she said her start date is April 9th. So she'll be starting in early April. It's a great time to start. And off she goes. And after some nice comments and some advice, she does ask, do you think March 9th is too early? Are you going to try for a next date in tomorrow's permit round? When she left that comment, it was the day before the final permit round for PCTA. And as I told her on there, no, when I first signed up for it, I was aiming for mid-April. Not only is that the peak time that most people want to start, but also that's the perfect time because my wife, being a teacher, was going to be on spring break, and therefore she would be able to drive me down there and be with me at the very beginning. I'd love to have her there at the very beginning and things like that to see me off on the trail. That would be great. But then the more I thought about it, the more I realized, man, it's a long haul to bring her down. But then again, she's on spring break, so she can bring our son. Our daughter's away in college, so she can bring our son and then maybe do like a little mini week vacation, just the two of them, while I hit the trail and things and then head home. But when I got the date of March 9th, I kind of looked at that and at first was like, okay, I'm going to try and get that changed. And then as I thought about it more and more, and I got a fantastic offer from an old friend of mine, someone I've known for decades now. And Jess, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you, bro. It's been too long since I've actually seen you. But he offered to pick me up at the airport because he lives down in San Diego now, and to get me to the trailhead and things. And so the more I realized, you know, March 9th actually, for the way I plan on doing the PCT and for our family schedule, actually probably works just fine because that'll take time pressure off of me. I can do my glacier pace. That's my trail name. I'll do my glacier pace through the desert on the trail, not be pushed for time to try and get certain places at certain times. You know, if I get to the Sierras and there's snow, then I'll jump to some other place and hike that for a while and just do things like that. But if I end up taking a lot of time and get there and it's clear, hey, great, that's even better. And so with that out of the way, I decided, you know, I love my wife. It would be nice to have her there at the beginning, but it's not a necessity, and that's a long trip for her to make, round trip, to just drop me off like that and stuff. And if I've got a buddy there willing to pick me up at the airport, I think that'll work out great. So no, decided not to go for a different date. I'm going to keep that March 9th starting date. It's early, yes, but at the same time, I think that's a good thing because also the peak heat for the desert won't be hitting, or shouldn't be. You never know with weather, but it should not be hitting until later. So when the higher desert heat starts coming in, I think I'll be close to the end of the desert section and be moving out of it. So, but I also know that means that there's going to be cold nights and things like that. Right now, I've been keeping an eye on it. Right now, Campo and that area, the nights have been reaching down into the mid-30s. So yeah, it's cold. So I'll be prepared for that. I'll have my my sleeping bag dialed in and sleep system all set for coldness, and that's just what we'll go with. So nope, decided not to go with an earlier whatchamacallit. And Vanessa also mentions quickly about, you know, I had mentioned the way I mentally plan to do it is, you know, do it in, you know, mentally do it in chunks of the trail. Not always have Canada as my goal, and she says she understands that and she kind of agrees with it. And you know, I've seen people get off the trail, and a lot of the times that's what they say is like, oh man, I've done all this work, I'm only here and Canada's this far away, I just can't take this, and off they go. The mental game kind of beat them, and they got off trail. And it's like, I can't think that way. I can't do that. I cannot stand 20 miles from Campo on my second day and then look far north to Canada and think, look how far that is. Oh, I can't travel that. Okay, but I'm not trying to get to Canada right now. You know, my second day, 20 miles at Campo, I'm trying to get to here, which is only 15 miles away. So let's go. You know, you can't do that to yourself. You can't look at these far off targets and say, look how far those are. I don't know if I can do that. Okay, look at what you're trying to do that day. You know, day to day. That's what you have to do. You have to break it down. And it seems Vanessa does the same kind of thing. It's like, you know, today I'm not trying to get to Canada. Today I'm trying to get to Laguna. You know, today I'm trying to get to Warner Springs. You know, this is what I'm doing today. And that's what you should be concentrating on. Not ultimately trying to get to Canada. So, we got that there. And one other comment I wanted to talk about. This is from an old video. My Lost Coast Trail #1 video. And like I said, I've always said, you can comment on any of the videos and it will flag me, no matter how old they are. And I'll be happy to talk about them again and things like that. Gina On commented that she wants to do the Lost Coast Trail in June. So she says, thanks for sharing, and she subbed for more. Always appreciate the subs. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the other videos I put out there and things like that. And I wanted to touch on this because, man, my Lost Coast Trail videos I actually feel bad about because I had such high expectations for the Lost Coast, and although I did finish it, I really feel like I personally, my performance on Lost Coast could have been better. I pressured myself, again, the mental game, a little too much. The Lost Coast is a different animal because it is not a big trail. It's just not. But it challenges you mentally because guys like me, I can conquer the mental challenge if I just know. It's like, yeah, I know. I got to do this distance. But I got all day to do it. So I'm going to do it at my pace. There's no pressure, okay? The Lost Coast Trail takes that away from you because you have to do this distance today. And you have to do it in this amount of time because this huge section of the trail is going to be underwater in 3 hours. So you need to get past it in 3 hours, get a move on. And so that constant stress made that hike tough for me. It really did. And so I think that really shows in my videos. So I don't want to give the impression that it's a bad hike. It really is not, especially if you're in shape. If you're in good shape and you can just do it, it's a freaking amazing hike. But if you're in tougher shape like I am, it's going to be a challenge, and it was a challenge for me. But ultimately, I want to say I am glad I did it. I'm happy to mark that trail off of my old blue sky bucket list trail thing. It was a wonderful experience. I saw some absolutely beautiful views, neat territory. Just it was ultimately a good trip, but it was definitely one of the more challenging hikes I've been on, and I've been plenty around the Sierras and stuff. But just that factor of it's hard enough walking on this sand and the beach. It just makes it that much tougher to walk on when you're doing it for 4 or 5 miles at a time. Are these little boulders that can, go out from underneath you in a split second. That is just tough hiking, and that's bad enough. But having to do that at a certain pace so that you're out of there before the tide comes in just adds a complete mental challenge to it. And so I just wanted to mention that although maybe I gave that impression on my videos that it's just, oh, what a hike. It's, almost that it was just not a good hike and stuff like that. No, it is a fantastic trail. I highly recommend it. Just be ready for that. I think mentally I was not prepared for that challenge. It just, I kept looking at distances. Oh, we're only going to do 8 miles that day. I can do 8 miles, and we're going to do another 8 the next day. I can do those miles, no problem. Doing those miles under the kind of pressure you're under in the terrain that you're walking on, totally different animal than pulling 15, even if you're going uphill and stuff. If it's a nice trail and things like that, yeah. So that's it on the Lost Coast Trail. But Gina On, awesome. I hope you have a great time in June. We did our hike in June, the group I went with, and there was plenty of water. The views were amazing. We had good weather. For the most part, we had some rain on night number 2. Other than that, fantastic. Just beautiful trail. Enjoy. I hope you have a good time. And you know what? That's going to be Hiker Homily number 53. Once again, thank you so much for all the new subscribers and things like to the channel. I also wanted to mention very briefly that I have started a Patreon page. And really the way I'm going to treat that Patreon page is kind of a secondary way you can get a hold of my videos. If anything happens on YouTube or whatever, you can see my videos also on Patreon. If you feel like what I'm doing is worthy, it's entertaining you, it helps in some way, you like them or whatever, and you want to do a little donation on Patreon, you have the ability. It is not going to be required. I'm not going to make any kind of requirements for that. But just understand that I have a Patreon page, Hiking for Health CA, there as well. And so you can also get a hold of me there, leave comments, see the videos, and all that kind of stuff. And if you do feel like leaving a little donation to help me out, hey, that helps. Every little bit helps. That would be great. Other than that, still enjoy. And that's Hiker Homily number 53. As usual, you can get a hold of me for comments on anything in the comments below. Now you can get a hold of me on Patreon, as well as Facebook and Instagram, and also at hikingforhealthca@gmail.com. And thanks again, all you new subscribers. Welcome. If most of you, I assume, are here to see me do the PCT, so I hope I don't let you down. I hope no matter how much of the PCT I do, that you find it entertaining, and maybe it helps if you're future PCT hikers, the little bits I get and things like that, what I go through. Who knows? We'll see, but enjoy, and hopefully you like some of the other videos I do too. Right now, I've got a lot of day hike videos and a lot of other types of subject videos on Hiker Homily, so enjoy that as well. Other than that, thanks as always for watching, and we're going to see you next time.